Now that the Copenhagen 2024 major has begun, we've got to see the 24 teams that qualified for the tournament in action, and congratulations to every team that qualified. But with the conclusion of the RMRs, many teams that were favored to make an appearance at CS2's first ever major failed to qualify. Here are the most disappointing teams that failed to qualify for Copenhagen 2024. Astralis may just have had the most disappointing finish in the Copenhagen 2024 RMRs. The team had high expectations to qualify for the major, as the team is pretty strong, sitting at a number 19 world ranking and having legendary players like Device on their team. Astralis used to dominate Counter-Strike, winning 4 majors, but now the team is sort of a shell of its former glory, failing to qualify for the last 3 majors in a row, including Copenhagen 2024. The team had high expectations to qualify for the major, as not only missing the last 2 majors was bad enough, but they need to qualify for this major as they are a Danish team, and the major would be taking place in the Danish city of Copenhagen. But after beating Ancient in round 1 of the RMRs, Astralis would have trouble dealing with Team Spirit and Heroic, and were sent to round 4 of the RMRs, where they beat Monty to advance to the decider bracket. This is where Astralis had some trouble though. Astralis then had some trouble in the decider bracket, competing against ENCE for the final spot at the major. Astralis came up short with lackluster performance, losing map 1 to ENCE 6-13, and losing map 2 9-13, preventing them from advancing to the major. Team Falcons were extremely disappointing at the RMRs. The team recently just spent boatloads of money to form their team by acquiring Magix from Vitality and Madden and Sunpayas from ENCE, which shot the team up with a top 10 world ranking. These moves were essentially made for a qualification at the Copenhagen major, but after beating 3D Max in the first round of the RMRs, Falcons struggled to take another win shortly after that. Falcons would lose in round 2 against FaZe, and then lose round 3 to Eternal Fire. They then failed to make it to the decider bracket after losing 1-2 against Amkal in round 4. Although they did put up a decent fight, bringing map 3 to overtime, they ultimately lost 13-16. But Team Falcons' disappointment seems to be extending past the Copenhagen RMRs. You see, Falcons just signed Simple on a 1-month loan from Na'Vi. And if you don't know Simple, he's one of the greatest CS players of all time. It was expected with his addition to the team, Falcons would start killing the CS esports scene. Well, we were all kind of wrong, because just shortly after failing to make the major, Falcons were also immediately eliminated from the Blast Premier Spring Showdown 2024, losing to Metsiport 1-2 in the first round. And the new addition of Simple? Well, he put up a 14-15 performance in map 1 with a .84 rating, and then a decent 14-14 KD with a good 1.3 rating, although losing the map 13-4. And then he had a 10-20 KD with a .78 rating on the deciding map. Yeah, it seems like Falcons have really invested a ton of money into a team that has failed to make it to any big CS event yet. Team Liquid also had a pretty disappointing performance at the RMRs. They failed to qualify for the major, and it's pretty surprising given their roster. I mean, they have some legendary talent, like Twist and Cadian, both of which who were acquired pretty recently, most likely in preparation to make a run at the major. Twist left FaZe Clan, a super strong team, to join Liquid, and Cadian left Heroic for Liquid, so it's safe to assume that they made these decisions in the hopes to achieve something great with Liquid. But sadly, Liquid failed to qualify for their major, while their former teams both made it without them. That's not to say that the team did bad at the RMRs though. I mean, they were able to beat Bestia in round 1, but lost to a strong Furia team in round 2. They then beat Boss 2-0 in a dominant performance in round 3 to advance to the qualifying game. Sadly, Liquid had to go up against the strongest team in the qualifying bracket, which was Complexity, losing to Complexity in map 2 5-13, and then map 3 7-13. It's pretty unfortunate that a team as strong as Liquid is failed to make the major. I mean, it definitely hurts to hear that we won't be getting any Twists or Cadian stickers in the Copenhagen sticker capsules. Going into the Asia Pacific RMRs, Greyhound Gaming and the Mongols were 2 likely favorites to take the 2 spots available at Copenhagen. Both teams were basically the 2 best teams out of the 9 participants in the competition, and both teams made it to the most recent major in Paris. Unfortunately, only the Mongols were able to live up to this expectation, as Greyhound Gaming were unable to qualify for the major. Greyhound was able to take out Atox with ease in the first round, but in the second round they had to go up against probably the best team in the RMR, the Mongols, but they lost horribly 4-13. This sent the team to the lower brackets, where they beat GG Hao 2-0, and then Atox again 2-1. This brought Greyhound face to face with Lin Vision to qualify for the last remaining spot at Copenhagen, and Greyhound cracked under the pressure, losing to Lin Vision pretty badly, losing map 2 7-13, and then map 3 an abysmal 2-13. To make things even worse, following the failure to make the major, Greyhound Gaming shortly disbanded their CS2 team, and ceased all of its operations on March 3rd. This was super sad to see, as it seemed like the entire team's operations were riding on their CS2 team to qualify for the major. And those were a few teams that were pretty disappointing in the Copenhagen RMRs. It's pretty crazy to see that many star players and teams will not be making it to the first ever CS2 major. I know for me, I'm pretty sad that there will be no appearance from Twists or Device, but who are some other teams that you would think were disappointing at the RMRs? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching.